Guys, welcome to London Lic's YouTube channel. Welcome if you're new and welcome if you're not. So Monique's son is out here and he's talking about her and what a bad, lame, terrible mother she was. Now this did not surprise me, all the whining about her not getting paid enough, all the unfairness, when this woman should have just been concentrating on the fact that she has a terrible relationship with her son. But I knew she was trifling from time I seen her in interviews, and it was daddy this, daddy this, daddy this, as though her man was her pimp. I knew something had to be up with this chick. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys listen to what the son had to say, and I'll talk to you guys in a minute.
My mother and I both know that that is a very false narrative, and I would like to free her of having to continue telling that lie. Faith without work is dead, and neither one of us cares to put forth any effort to reconcile with the other. We are separate, as she put it, because she doesn't care to be my mother any more than I care to be her son. Neither one of us has had the desire to reach out to the other in a very long time, and I don't think that either of us anticipates that feeling ever returning. Speaking with my mother directly, in my experience, will either lead to some odd newfound moment of clarity in regards to how she was as my mother, or she retreats back to daddy to move forward with a conversation. And I'm tired of hearing my mother's truths. Newsflash, I'm not sure if people know, but standing in your truth doesn't make you noble. I'm not sure if people are aware of that. But responding this way, I feel as though it allows me to say my piece uninterrupted. To those wondering, well, why say something now? Call it a form of therapy for me, I suppose. But when her daddy had intentionally stated that they have 3 sons, but his wife is on the internet talking about the 4th son in a video that has millions of views, that rubbed me the wrong way. But anyway, inform a child that you are not interested in being a mother at a time when that kid is the only kid that has the potential to lead a child to believe that you are not interested in them specifically. But to take it a step further, you also admit, my mother had also admitted to me that she didn't do the best job that she could do, which would also make one begin to question, all of your past decisions and prior emotional interactions. But to be completely honest and fair, those were things that I was willing to get over. Nobody's perfect, we're all human, but my mother showed a clear lack of humility, compassion, and consideration when taking any level of accountability for those things. My mother does a fantastic job of acknowledging a lot of things, but she doesn't take accountability very well, and anything that she may take true accountability for, it's only at her convenience, in my experience. But if I had to guess, though, her interest in being a mother probably started around the time that she married her daddy and had his children. But that interest, obviously seemed one-sided, and as it should have been. By that time, I'm in my late teens, so to some degree, the the neglect becomes easier to hide or validate, I guess you could say. There are now 2 baby boys in the house, that require attention. But still during that time, however, I still watched her enjoy the love and admiration of total strangers more than my own. To this very day, my mother has never expressed to me when, if ever, she became interested in me as her son. That did lead me down a path of questioning my self-worth and struggling to understand the value of a mother in a child's life. In the interview, she also states that she gave me an apology, but an apology to a son from a mother that consciously showed no interest in him holds no weight. There are still women to this day that my mother will give credit to for being more of a mother to me than she ever could. Her assistant, my cousin, being one of them. Every time, though, that my mother would state that she was right here whenever I was ready, that ideology still blows my mind today, that a person could openly admit to being an uninterested, not put my best foot forward type of parent, and be so self-centered that they still express to the kid, you have to come to me when you ready. You got to come to me for us to make this right. Okay. But I'm not sure what my mother could possibly think that she has shown me in the past or have for me now that's not money, goodness gracious, that would make me want to come to her, or whatever those feelings are supposed to be. A mother is supposed to be the first woman that a boy falls in love with. I loved my mother very much, but my mother loved things more than she loved me, and she would validate her love for me by giving me things and would proceed to call me ungrateful or inconsiderate if said things did not have the desired effect. I couldn't imagine what it's like to be her, though, to ask God for what you want, and then He gives you what you need, though, only for you to ignore it and have the audacity to ask God for something else. And I'm glad I don't. I'm glad I didn't do that. And when He told you no, you went to the universe instead. By no means, though, do I want to give off any type of an impression that I am a victim of anything. It's not the case. As you can see, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm a dad. I'm healthy, I think. I drink a lot of water. I'm getting over a cold now. I still have my days just like everybody else. And, there were a few things that she did teach me along the way. I did learn how not to love from my mother. I also learned to make sure that I never lose so much of who I am that I have to validate it through another person. And though I feel as though, in hindsight, I think she did it reluctantly, I do appreciate my mother, for showing me what the top of the mountain looks like. You know what I'm saying? It did give me perspective on what hard work and dedication can get you, but I don't want something like that at the cost of giving up something that I created. I don't want it that bad. And speaking of creations, I genuinely, truly, I really did want my mother to have a relationship with my daughter. I even fought through those intrusive thoughts that were, if she wasn't interested in you, what makes you think she's going to be interested in your kid? But it took my mother no time at all to prove that those intrusive thoughts were correct. But what I can say, good for her, the universe did, bless her with three other sons. And God willing, I'm sure that all three of them are adults now. So I'm sure that one of them, God willing, if not all three of them, will make her the grandmother that she wants to be. I still look forward, to that moment for her. But overall, when it comes to the boys, though, I am happy that whenever they do hear me talk, sorry, my phone did something weird, but whenever they hear me talk, they don't know what it is. They can't relate to what it is that I'm saying. My experience with my mother is not their experience, with our mother. So my prayer for her and them is that they continue to see her the way that they see her now. I do also want to make sure that I say thank you to my mother for giving me life. Without that moment in time, I wouldn't have had my little one. But outside of that moment, there isn't anything that either of us has to offer the other. In my opinion, it's a waste of God's time and the universe's time for praying for something that you were not willing to put forth any effort to obtain. Putting the work into becoming Monique is more important to my mother than being my mother. And I do not believe that it was never about her being there and waiting for me, but it was supposed to be about me being there and waiting for her.
Now, I believe everything he has to say about his mother, and of course she's going to defend herself because she cares about her public image, but typically Monique came out and she had something to say, and I'm going to put this on her, but of course she had her husband with her daddy. Yes, daddy this. Yes, daddy this. She's like the biggest fan of her husband in a pathetic way. As I said, the pimp and the hoe. That's what you get from Monique when she comes and does an interview with her husband. But, even more pathetic than that, Monique has got this thing where she's sort of using the black community. She's using the black community to help her get more money, to get sympathy, to get more fame. And guess who's to blame for her being, you know, a terrible parent. It's a black community issue. It's not she's a bad parent issue. It's a black community issue. Anyway, I'll let you listen to what, you know, trifling Monique has to say.
So we can have this conversation. You would do that right now? Hey, babies.
Hey, hey.
We just wait for y'all to come on in the room so we can have this conversation with our community. What is that? Oh, we good. Let's rock and roll, baby.
Let's rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
The title of our conversation, or the theme of it, is called The Long Way Around, because ain't no shortcuts. Pickles, stop playing with that paper, please. The reason we're having it is a multitude of reasons, but we're going to start off with, there was a Instagram that was put up, or I guess
It was TikTok, baby.
TikTok that was put up by
My son, my oldest son, Shalon. And this is what I want to say to this. There are some people that are saying, oh, you should be ashamed of your mothering skills. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is what I'll say. Let's let it play out. Because the same ones that said to me, I was crazy, I was deranged, we watched it play out. So just like with my son, we'll watch this play out. And I do want to address this though, Shalon. When you say her daddy, then that's when mommy gonna say stop playing, because you know this has been Uncle Sid your whole life. Uncle Sid knew you before you knew you. So for you to say her 3 sons, yes, you're absolutely right. He has 3 sons. He can't claim you as his son because he's always been Uncle Sid, and he knows your daddy very well.
and love that brother. And the irony of all of this is not what is said, but what's left off.
Yes.
See, you're leaving off the fact that the last time we laid eyes on you, your mother got you everything you needed for the newborn baby about 3 years ago. You're forgetting about how I, from Georgia, am talking you through getting your car after we gave you the half the down payment for it, and you were 31 years of age, 32 years of age at that point, and I'm negotiating the deal with the dealer for you as you sit there, and you have the vehicle you're driving right now because of your mother. These are the things that you're leaving out when you're expressing what you're expressing in reference to your mother. You're not expressing the relationship that you have with your father, where you spoke ill to him, not to mention spoke ill to your mother, but somehow your mother and father and I all have a loving relationship and communicate back and forth because of the love that we have for you. The one thing these individuals, and to the individuals out here that oftentimes speak after they've heard one side of the story, there's an old saying, believe half of what you see and none of what it is that you hear. Please don't take our word for it, but what we will convey is this. Those who are parents and have raised their parents up to being adults.
The children. Raise their children up to be an adult.
Right on. Those who are parents that raise their children into adulthood know that there comes a time and a place in which they determine their own decisions, their own path. You can have multiple children that are raised in one house, but they act and they take on different things. The reason why it was so important for us to entertain these conversations that we typically have privately, or that we're influenced to have privately amongst the people in our community, is because we need to stop being embarrassed about being human beings and about being black human beings. You will oftentimes hear us saying we are embarrassing ourselves in front of them. Who is them?
Who are they?
Because when you hear someone articulate these things, that is the slave's mentality. It makes us believe that we as black people need to conduct ourselves with dignity because white people are watching. You should conduct yourself with dignity because the spirit of you is watching.
Come on.
But we need to have these conversations out loud and taboo because we have a finite period of time together here on this earth. You will travel through infinity with the spirit that you have all alone, and you will not remember the ridicule that you receive, but you will be judging yourself. You will be determining for the rest of your life which way that you go as you have thus far. So this conversation is about speaking directly to what situations are. And many people oftentimes, when they are presented with an issue, they stay quiet, they hide, they disappear. And what we're saying is that's not who we are, because what you cannot do is you cannot trick an honest person.
Come on.
You can demean, you can say whatever you want to say about them negatively, but what will happen is truth has a way of standing the test of time. I forgot to have my phone to read the last text message that I gave to you, Shalon, where I told you about the understanding of how you are speaking to a woman and how you as a man and how you perceive things may be completely different from how your wife, how your mother, how your sister, how your daughter will look at things. And when you learn how to communicate a little bit better, then things will happen a little bit better.
Now, from time Monique and her husband started speaking, I knew something untruthful was probably going to come out of their mouth. Their faces just said it all. Their faces said, we're about to, do some damage control right now. We're about to fabricate the truth. Before they just say, yeah, we treated, I didn't treat my son well. And to be honest, he's not the father, so he shouldn't even be talking on this at all. If my son was upset, and I'm sure if your son was upset, you would address this yourself. You wouldn't even have your husband addressing it. This is something you would deal with yourself because you are the person who gave birth. But as always, somebody's to blame with Monique. So she goes about to continue, and I'm going to show you a little clip of it. She continues and she starts saying, this is a black community issue. This is us pretending to be perfect in front of the white folk. We all just need to talk out about our problems. Now, this has got nothing to do with the white folk. This has got nothing to do with the black folk. This has got nothing to do with the black community. This has got nothing to do with the entertainment industry. This has just got to do with you being a bad mother. That's it. You're a bad mother. Your son felt neglected. And it's got nothing to do with any community at all. And Monique is the type of chick that makes people say, oh, people are always using the race card. Because she is the type of chick that uses the race card all the time unnecessarily. This has got nothing to do with the black people, Monique. This is purely to do with you neglecting your son and not being a good mother.
Be free. You will stop being scared to say what's real. You'll stop being fearful of having conversations that normally take place in private and nobody ever really knows the outcome. And from there, when you were saying earlier about how we're looking in front of white folks. When I do hear our brother Greg Mathis say, the studio is watching y'all and the executives are watching y'all, so what?
If the executives are watching closely, the individuals that would want to interact with us are those who are engaged and are in alignment with what is true.
So you heard what the pimp had to say, and the pimp and the hoe, as I said, daddy this. Anyway, what I want to say is this. Monique is the type of woman that makes kids when they're young not want to see their parents get married to other people, because she's the type of woman who, is neglectful of her child when it is with a man she is not with. That's what I'm seeing. It's like she had 3 other kids with this guy and she's been managing to parent these ones and they've got no issues with her. It's because some women only are good parents to children when the man is with them. If the man is not with them, they can't perform as a mother. And this is what this is giving. Anyway, I've had enough of Monique for today. What she needs to be doing is stop whining about her pay because she has more money than other people. Stop calling her man daddy like a little kid or like a prostitute who's being pimped out. And she needs to spend time working out what to do to fix her relationship with her son, whether it's therapy, whatever it takes, and she needs to stop dragging the community, the black community, into things that has nothing to do with anybody but her. This is all to do with her and the bad relationship she has with her son. And, you know, it's just, she's just wasting the public's time. Nobody wants to hear about this being a community issue. It is not a community issue. It is a Monique issue. It is a parenting issue. It is a woman who did not build a good relationship with her child and did not be a mother. It's nothing to do with the community. Monique is the type of chick that only wants to be a parent if she's getting the good D and she's getting a ring for it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think on the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in another one.
Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you never be lonely.